Y'all remember where you were when you got the news that Hank Williams had died? I know that affected both of y'all because that was the kind of music.
I can tell you exactly where I was.
That was in 1951.
Yeah.
I was sitting at the 38th parallel in Korea.
I don't know even how to ask you this question, but Hank Williams really was y'all's a mentor. I mean, he was really the one that dictated the music in this area at that time, wasn't he?
Yeah, you can put that on there. Okay. That's what we kind of went by. See, that was what we was familiar with.
Yeah, Hank Williams Sr. Hank Williams Sr. was actually one of y'all. I mean, you knew him, you knew his family, he was from right around here.
He was with his first cousin.
He was the only person, I guess, that we knew in this area and back then nationwide notoriety just was non-existent because we didn't get information then like we get now. That fascinates me, the fact that Hank Williams just rode around these dirt roads just like you guys did.
Did you get that? Did you get that on?
Yeah.
Did you? Good. All right, let me tell you what. The night I remember, Big Daddy, it was New Year's Eve night when he died, you know. And we was playing, I was playing with Mr. James Dale then. We had the little dance band, you know. Mr. James Dale from Oak Hill, Miss Jenny V. Maxwell from down at Mac Williams, Alabama. Erskine Kennedy was playing the drums. Ed Gaston was singing, and Roy Watts was playing the guitar. And I was trying to play too, you know. I was 16 years old. And I had been over to Greenville in August of that year when he came and had a big homecoming in Greenville, Alabama. Roy and me and Henry Watts and Ed Gaston went over there to the show that afternoon. And we didn't have enough money to stay for the second show, so we had a little bit, but we went up to the Highway Inn, the beer joint up that way, and spent our money and didn't get to go to the show. Had a big show that night, but Hank Sr. was there, and we came on back home. Well, that was in September. Then this was in New Year's Eve. We was playing down at the Armory. That group I just told you, Mr. James Dale Band, you know. We was playing for a dance down there at the old Armory now, down under the hill. And one thing I remember, of course, you know, we didn't know Hank was dying that night, but usually after 12 o'clock, they want us to play on for another hour, so they'd pass around the hatch, you know, and pick up a little more money. I was working at the Yellow Front store then, making $5 a day, sacking groceries. And I'd get off a little early to go wherever we was playing at, you know. And we'd make $25 or $30 a piece. Well, that was pretty big money back in 1952. That's about like $250 now, I guess. But anyway, that night I remember, you remember Junior Underwood? Mm-hmm. And Jason May? They loved to come to the dance. And old Junior, he always smoked, they called him Junior. He was, anyway, they kept a Cadillac and all. He always smoked a cigar. And I remember he came up there, we sitting just like we are here right now, getting ready to play another song. He'd come up there and said, play such and such. He threw $5 in the hat, you know. And then he pulled out a $5 bill out of his billfold and took his match and lit it, and lit his cigar with it. And I thought, Lord have mercy, that $5, I work all day to make that $5 he lit his cigarette with. That was the night. Then we went home, you know. Well, we was living there at the telephone office. My folks had the telephone business at the time. And I had it fixed where I could, we had a place under the telephone office where the people that would come there and work helped my stepdaddy, Mr. Crutchfield. You remember him? Mm-hmm. That's Ronald and them's granddaddy. But anyway, Barbara's daddy. And people come in to help work on the lines. Well, he had 3 or 4 beds over there and a place to stay. Well, I got to where I'd stay there at night so my mama wouldn't know what time I come in at night, you know. I didn't have to go in the house. And so I went in there that night, you know, after we got home about 2 o'clock or so. And the next morning, the operators upstairs, that was Miss Carolyn Roberts, Tom Roberts' wife, Peter Curry's aunt, Miss Snooks Bailey. You remember Snooks Bailey? She was the operator there. Miss Clara D. Turner. They was, and Mr. Gene Watts lived right next door to us. And Miss Snooks kind of helped take care of him. But anyway, they are the ones that found out I was downstairs, and they had heard it at the switchboard that morning that Hank had died. Well, it so happened that our amplifier had tore up, and I had to go to Montgomery to get it fixed. And we was just got booked up at Till's place. we was gonna start playing at Till's place twice a month up here on the highway. And we started playing there then, and in different places, you know, around. We'd go down to Andalusia to the Amvets Club, over to Steakhouse in Greenville. That's pretty high class. We had to wear a coat away, you know. We went to Till's place, we did what we wanted to, but we'd have some good times up there at Till's place. Well, years ago, I think Hank had played there before that time, you know. But anyway, that's what I remember about hearing about Hank's death. And it just, man, it was a big publicity. Mr. Henry Hawthorne lived up on the corner from me. And see, Henry would book, he would play in it, he owned Journey's Inn. And Hank would come down there before he left Montgomery and play in the basement for Mr. Henry. And then Mr. Henry told me some things about him. See, I was driving a Coca-Cola truck. He was my last stop going to the warehouse on Friday evening. Sometimes he'd want to talk. And he told me a good many things. One thing he told me, he said, Hank was about 22 when he was coming down there. He said, but you know, said a lot of people thought he stayed drunk all the time. Said, I'm sure he did, but said, he was always a perfect gentleman when he come down here. Said, we'd sit upstairs and drink coffee. One night, we're sitting up there, and I said, Hank, you better go back downstairs. Said, all these guys around town down there, they're about to take over your picking down there. And his band was still. He said, well, don't worry about it, Miss Henry. When old Hank gets back down there, he'll take back over. But he said his mind a mind of a 22-year-old would be, you know, different from, say, a 40. He said his mind thought about things that was further advanced than his age. And he had to have a mind like that to write them songs he wrote. So that's some of the things that Mr. Henry used to tell me about. But Mr. Henry went up after the funeral. I listened to it on the radio. Sure did. But it was, you know, we hated it mighty bad, but that's kind of what we was playing, him and Ernie Stubb and people like that kind of music. So anyhow, and we hadn't got much further up than that. But you know what? That's good enough for me and Fred, ain't Fred?